my friend Bill was like, "Yo, Pete, let's go outside. I gotta talk to you," in like a serious tone. And I was like, "Okay, about what?" So he takes me outside and he's like, "Hey, don't lie to me, okay?" I was like, "Okay, I won't." He's like, "Do you know a Julian Duong?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." And in my head, I'm like, "He's inside, you know, he's like sitting there fucking playing games." And he's like, well, there's a bounty on him, and you know, I'm a bounty hunter now, and these are my coworkers, and we're all bounty hunters, and we're here to capture him."
That's so cool. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Mario.
And I'm Peter.
And we're Guys That Listen. On today's episode, we got software engineer, ChatGPT guru, pigeon aficionado, Brandon Junus.
What was the last one you said?
Pigeon aficionado.
Pigeon. Oh, we played that one pigeon dating game once.
Yes.
Dating simulator once.
Yeah.
What?
How to find a boyfriend.
She once asked me if my significant other turned into a pigeon, would I love them? Would I fuck them or something? And I'm like,
wait, what?
why would you ask me that? And then I found out like they were playing some kind of pigeon dating game.
All right, so you know what dating sims are? Like the Japanese dating simulator games?
Mm-hmm.
No, I know.
I mean, they're usually like in high school. Not that I've played them any. I've actually never.
It was research. It was research.
I used to play a lot of games as a kid, so it's just like sometimes I get plugged in and like listen to all these new games that are coming out. Someone made a dating simulator. Like usually, it's about being in high school and like you choose whoever you're gonna fall in love with, but this time everyone's a pigeon. So I was like, dude, this is funny as like.
That is so interesting.
She's like, if your significant other turned into a pigeon, would you love them?
Oh my God.
I'm like, no, they're a fucking pigeon.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I can imagine like one of my exes saying that. Like, would you still love me if I was a pigeon? I'm like, fuck no. The hell can he talk to you? What do you mean?
Just keep you in a little cage,
Yeah.
like, damn.
Yeah, when those questions came up, like in my past relationships, like, would you still love me if this or that, if I lost an arm, blah, blah, or if I was like severely burned, I'd be like, yeah, I would still love you, just wouldn't be in love with you. You know what I mean? What can I say?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's crazy. I did not know they had games like that.
It's a Japanese thing. There's a lot of like those.
That
kind of
actually
things.
explains a lot.
Yeah.
There's one with literally sponsored by KFC. Like you fall in love with the Colonel.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah.
It was on. You know what?
You fall in love with the Colonel?
The Colonel's the guy that you fall in love with. Yeah.
It was one of the related videos when she told me about that. It was like I saw the pigeon simulator on YouTube and I looked it up, and then one of the adjacent videos is like with the Colonel's face on it or something like that.
It's weird because they're so like restricted that they're very unrestricted in like a lot of different ways, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like finding a way to like bypass things, right? Like, have you guys ever seen the documentary on the guy who like created like the octopus porn stuff?
No, but
No.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, so there's like a documentary on it, and like the reason why he did it was because I guess like in Japan, like the private parts are like blurred out. So he was like, okay, you know, like that's no fun. Like why would I want to see like a pixelated vagina, you know? So let me fucking just add like tentacles and shit, and they'll bypass everything because they're not gonna fucking pixelate like a fucking tentacle.
A whole generation have like tentacle finishes.
I know.
He's a pioneer. Wow.
I know. Actually, now I'm super curious about stuff like that because, like, he did something to bypass like a law, rule, guideline, whatever the hell you call it, and now he's created like this whole community of people who are fetishizing tentacles, right? And like now, you said there's a game where you fall in love with the Colonel, and you know, like for us, we laugh and we're like, oh yeah, it's funny, it's a fun game that you laugh about, but somewhere out there's someone who's probably in love with the Colonel. No, seriously.
I know. Is it you?
I mean, not yet. He does make pretty decent chicken in Japan. KFC in Japan is way better than KFC out here, by the way.
Yeah, who knows? Like maybe this will like start a chain reaction, like which kind of like the tentacle guy.
Yeah.
We'll have like a Wendy's one next.
Okay, the Wendy's girl, I can work with that. The Colonel, I don't know.
Do you know what Rule 34 is?
Like you're acting like you don't know it.
I'm trying to remember the number.
It's Rule 34.
Okay,
Rule
yeah.
34. Yeah.
What is that? You guys know
I don't
so
know how to
much more than I do.
It's an arbitrary rule on the internet that just says like if there's a porn about something, it's probably been made already.
So there's obviously like Wendy's porn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like what's the craziest thing you can imagine? Like
Pigeons.
Donald
dating.
Trump with Hillary Clinton. There's probably a deep fake.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, especially now, yeah, deepfakes is so much easier.
Yeah.
Back then it was just like bad makeup and wigs, you know what I mean? But now it's like, yeah, it's deepfake.
Well, Elon Musk is there recording.
Do you guys know why it's Rule 34?
Yeah, I mean I
Actually
do
don't know.
because like I mean I don't know why it's specifically 34, but You know, like Fight Club, rule number 1 of Fight Club is blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. So a long time ago on 4chan.
Yeah, it
You
was
guys
on
know 4chan?
Yeah, it was on /B.
Yeah.
It's like some guy just made a thread a long time ago. It's like rule number 1, blah, blah, blah. Rule number 2, you don't talk about 4chan. And then like they got all the way to number 34 and there's like, if there's a porn on it, someone's made it. And then that one just stuck for some reason. Now it's
definitely a 4chan fucking thing.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
This is like 2008 4chan. Like,
Since we're talking about that, can you guys elaborate on what 4chan is for the viewers who don't know? Because I'm sure a bunch of like the Gen Z people out there have no idea what the fuck 4chan is.
very specific young people are on 4chan now. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure about that.
Of course. There's maybe kind of right off of Rule 34. I feel like for me, there's always someone for like everything that happens. You know what I mean? So yeah, it might not be the majority of people who are on 4chan are young, but there's definitely be like a young audience out there that's like on 4chan.
At least for me, from what I recall, 4chan was pre-Reddit. So
Yeah.
it was like the image board or thread board that you could go to for people like of our generation at that time during like the early 2000s,
Yeah.
where you could find funny stuff for video games, just like random threads, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you didn't really have that because like the kind of social media content you had before, like let's say like you had Facebook at the time or
pretty limited,
MySpace,
yeah.
it was very limited in certain things. And this is just like a whole. It was it was reminiscent of the AOL chat rooms where you go in and talk to like a bunch of random people, but with actual more structure, But still, like it was kind of like the Wild Wild West. There was like crazy stuff on there,
Shit was crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then it transitioned to like people started going to Reddit.
Maybe that's what happened. Since Reddit became so popular, the people that stayed were just the crazy people. Like, because Reddit is like I guess this is like the structure of the anonymity, I think really matters.
Yeah, huge. I was about to speak about that.
Yeah. Reddit, you at least have a username and you have upvotes on your karma thing.
Yeah.
4chan is just anonymous.
Yeah, definitely. And that's that stuff is so wild because obviously you only know what you know, right? And to me, being on those boards, and that really opened my eyes up to like, wow, there are people out there like this. I used to be a guy who's like, no one would do that, and now I'm like, someone will do it. You know what I mean? It's really different because when no one knows who the fuck you are, and nothing could really be traced back to you. Well, maybe now, but like back then, no one really, you can shit post and fucking. I've seen some fucking crazy like bigoted shit on like 4chan, right?
Dude, it's insane.
Yeah, fucking insane. And now I'm like, oh, there are people out there like that. But it's weird because I'm super curious because I don't really meet those people. Or are they just doing it anonymously?
Maybe they're only online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not real. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they would never say it. And most likely they probably would never do it in real life.
But then QAnon happens.
Yeah.
And that comes out of 4chan, right? So
I think there's this like shield of anonymity that lets you like express like your craziest thoughts, even if like sometimes you don't fully like believe them and stuff. Sometimes you'll do it just like, oh, this is crazy, But some people do believe it, But you're willing to like put yourself contradictory to like the social thought, against what most people believe is right, and you'll like say like, oh no, I don't fully believe this, or something super racist or bigoted, because there's no repercussions, No one's gonna tell you, no one's gonna know who you are, and then you kind of like, if that community stays there, everyone else is left. And it's all these kind of like similar thoughts. You kind of like all the people coming in there kind of indoctrinize themselves to believing that same kind of idea. And then you have stuff like QAnon. You have other like that whole everything that's happened from there.
I feel like the same happens on Reddit though.
Oh, it does.
It's
it
like
does.
super left leaning.
It's just on the other end of the spectrum.
That,
So let me ask you guys this: if you guys could be anonymous, what would you say that you normally wouldn't?
I don't think I would change much.
Really?
I mean, you kind of have the ability to do it right now.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, just make a new Twitter or whatever.
I think what I mean is like in person. Again, there's a lot of people who write stuff online because they can get away with it. But what would you say now? Like, what's one thing you would want to share that you never shared because?
Got to think about that. That was a good question.
I don't know. There's nothing that really like, for me, I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out myself too. What would I say?
I feel like we're decently straightforward, and there's nothing like.
Yeah, I'm like decently cancelable as is.
Yeah, you post all your shit already.
I would like to say that I'm very open about things and very like vocal about it in general, but I'm just trying to think if there's some kind of restraint because like the fear of being judged or something like that.
And we've literally said you can cancel us from the beginning, so.
Yeah, I know. But still, like maybe even then, because I'm sure that I'm still reluctant to say certain things. I just know to what degree, like I'm not maybe fully like suppressing it. I'm like vocalizing it a little bit, but not fully, thoroughly.
That's a good question. If I think of it, I'll bring it back up.
So I was gonna ask. You seem very versed, like with the internet culture and everything, all that.
Oh, I don't
Have you always been like very like into like technology and computers and everything? Because I know you're a software engineer. What was that?
I guess I was just like a loser growing up.
Wait, what do you mean
No,
by
I'm
that?
just kidding. I mean, I'm kind of kidding, but like I spent a lot of time on the internet just growing up.
Yeah.
People played sports. I played games, I guess.
What'd you play?
Probably most in my life was Heroes of New Earth, if you guys know what that is. It's like a super
I played
niche.
Han.
Heroes of New Earth is the game I played most of my life, probably. And then after that, Dota 2 came out, and I never got into it. I just, I had a job, so I was like, I kind of stopped playing. But yeah, like for a long time, I wanted to be a game developer. I watched like GDCs for fun.
Yeah.
If you know that.
What's that?
It's like game developer conferences.
Oh, okay.
I would just be like, oh, like how did they design this game? I was like, this is so interesting.
I had phases, dude. Like I grew up playing like mainly RPGs. I would want to say like from like the first Final Fantasy all the way to I stopped around 10 or something like that, or 9, I think. It was the one where. So for me, Final Fantasy games is always about like big, gigantic fucking swords and like killing shit, right? And then like in Final Fantasy 9, they made the main character like a monkey dude, and he had like a knife. And it was like a small ass knife, and I was like, bruh, you killed it for me. I don't even want to fucking play this game more. And ever since then, I haven't really played any RPGs. And I transitioned to playing Counter-Strike, so FPS.
Oh, yeah,
well, just Counter-Strike, not really FPS, because that was the only Counter-Strike or only FPS.
Talk
game
about
I played.
competitive games, dude. That shit's crazy.
Bro. Yeah, dude, like. And maybe we can go into this too, and I feel like it has a lot to do with like the online culture and like being anonymous, because when I was a kid, I talked mad fucking shit, like mad fucking shit, bro. Like, and I got called out one time, and I was like, holy shit! So basically, I was on like I was pubbing, right, like public like server,
Yeah.
and we were playing, and I was like just killing this dude, like he was getting murked, but yeah, he started talking shit to me. He was like, you fucking camper, blah, blah. So then I started talking shit back. And then he was like, I'm going to fuck you up. I was like, bitch, I'll fuck you up. You're probably a little bitch. He's like, oh, yeah, let's fucking meet then. And I was like, yeah, where you want to meet? He's like, I'll meet you on Fairview and Warner. And I was like, wait, this is the internet. How the fuck is this guy next to Fairview and Warner? I'm like down the street from that.
Is this 1.6 at this time?
It was 1.5 at this time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So no voice chat, just like
No, yeah, just literally
typing.
Yeah, typing that shit out, right?
Okay.
And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I live down the street. How is he so close to me? Like, how do you know? You know what I mean? He's like, and then he was like, yeah, let's be in front of Ecstasy, which is like a strip club in front of my house.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, for sure. I'll meet you there. 2 p.m., like show up, whatever. Then he left the fucking pub. I was like, hell no. Like,
From that day on, you never talk shit. Like,
yeah, I never talked shit like that. And I should have known, because like,
you can trace your IP or something. Yeah.
not just that, but like, I think it's mainly predominantly like FPSs, but it attracts. Obviously, you have like the nerdy people who play games, right? And then you have like the gangbangers who like, when they're not shooting people in real life, they shoot people online. You know? So like during this time, I was dating this chick who had an ex-boyfriend who played at a basically internet cafe, right? It's called Ice. It was in Garden Grove, and her boyfriend was at the time talking shit to some guy there, and that area, like everyone who kind of like was in playing all those FPSs in the internet cafe, there were a lot of gangbangers. So the guy that he was talking shit to, like, found out which seat he sat at and like stabbed him in the head with a screwdriver.
Oh.
Yeah.
And like you personally know this person too.
I knew, well, it was my ex's ex-boyfriend. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did. So I
Close
knew
enough,
him
yeah.
indirectly,
Damn.
Yeah. So I was like, holy
That's
fuck.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's-
dude. So you like back then I was like, you never know, And I had a situation where like it was like the first LAN tourney that I entered, and then I was getting smoked, right? By these fucking kids. They were like 10 years old or something like that. And I think I was like 16 at the time. And you're like, fuck these guys. They fucking suck. Like, let's just fucking knife them. I turned around. I was like, you little shit. I could end you. But these little kids don't fucking know. They're just all talking shit online. Like,
Yeah.
kids still do that. My old brother fucking still does that. I hear him like in the background. Like, fuck you, man. Like, you fucking can't really all this
Think
bullshit.
about gamer culture, man.
Yeah. And I think it has
This
a lot to
sounded-
being online, and like, oh, I'll never see this person, right? But there was actually another instance, and this one is kind of funny, right? So I I had a friend named Andy and a friend named Ken, and I had met them separately, so different friend groups, but they both played Counter-Strike. And I had invited them over to my house to have a LAN party, right? It's basically like a slumber party for nerds. So we all brought our fucking computers, right? Big ass fucking towers and monitors, and we, plugged in our
Those
fucking.
are the good days, man.
Yeah, the good days, man. And then one of my homies, Ken, was telling me that he was like, yeah, there was this fucking like nerdy ass dude who was fucking talking shit to me. And Ken was not the nerdy dude. He was like the dude who was like, you want to fight? Let's fucking go. And Andy was like the nerdy dude who would talk shit online and is like, you'll never fucking see me anyways, right? So then I invited them both over, and then Ken had already told me about that story. So I was like, that's fucking funny. Like then you scared the guy? And he's like, yeah, I fucking scared him, yeah. And then when they came over to my house, Andy was the guy that was talking shit to him that he confronted, and they were about to fight. And I was like, dude, not the fucking LAN party. What are you doing?
Just like saw each other's screen names. They're
Yeah.
like, wait a second. You were
Yeah,
talking
dude.
shit yesterday.
While you're in the match, it's like,
Isn't that fucking funny though? Like, what a small fucking world,
Damn.
dude.
That's so funny.
Sorry, I'm gonna go off on a tangent, and we don't have to include this, but that's because this is a good story, so I have to say it, right? And it kind of has to do with video games. But I have this friend. His name's Vit. He's like an older head. He's like a gangster from back in the day, right? So I think he's like 50 now, but basically he has very like strange jobs. He takes on very strange jobs, right? So currently, I think he's still a bounty hunter. So you can imagine, right? Like bounty hunter. Like,
What?
So he's a bounty hunter.
Like kills people for real?
No, he
Catches
captures them and then turns them in for money.
That's a real job?
you never saw Dog the Bounty Hunter?
No, what is that?
Some show that
It's
was
like a
on.
show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that's real, but yeah. So anyways, here's how small this fucking world is and full of coincidence, right? So I used to host Smash tournaments at this bar.
Nice.
So you
Melee?
go, no, Ultimate.
Oh, okay.
So the
Yeah.
most recent. But so I have a friend named Julian Duong, right? And my friend Vit hits me up, which I haven't seen in forever. Like I haven't seen him in like 4 years or something like that. And he was like, "Hey Pete, what are you doing today?" I was like, "Oh, I'm hosting an event at Play Bar, a Smash tournament." He said, "Cool, I'll see you there." I'm like, "Whoa, that's cool. I haven't seen you in years. Like you never go out. He's like older. He's like just stays in." So he comes with like, and he's a Asian dude, right? Vit dude who's like probably like 5'4" or some shit like that. And he comes in with like probably 4 tall white dudes that are big and burly, like truck drivers, right? Probably like 6 feet plus.
He's trying to intimidate his competition.
Well, at that time, I did not know he was a bounty hunter, right? So this is kind of like how funny this is. He was just like, "Hey, like these are my friends. They're my coworkers. I just want to take them out." I was like, "Cool." And Julian, my friend, plays Smash, so he was there. So then my friend Bill was like, "Yo, Pete, let's go outside. I gotta talk to you," in like a serious tone. And I was like, "Okay, about what?" So he takes me outside and he's like, "Hey, don't lie to me, okay?" I was like, "Okay, I won't." He's like, "Do you know a Julian Duong?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." And in my head, I'm like, he's inside, he's like sitting there fucking playing games. And he's like, well, there's a bounty on him, and I'm a bounty hunter now, and these are my coworkers, and we're all bounty hunters, and we're here to capture him. And I was like, "Whoa, for what?" He's like, "Oh, I guess like assault, theft, some other shit." And I was like, "Julian?" And Julian's like a small cat, right? He does not do that shit. So I was like, "No, I think they fucking got the wrong guy." But in my head, I was like, Julian does some illegal shit. I'm like, maybe he does. So I was like, holy fuck. And then he's like, "Is he here now?" I was like, no. Julian's not here. Like, what are you talking about? He's not here. And he's like, "Don't lie to me, Pete. If he's here, where you get him? Like, this guy, don't you?" And he pulls out the wanted, like, fucking, like, poster. And I look at
a
it.
poster?
Yeah.
It's not a PDF on a screen.
No. He's old school, dude.
Yeah, there's some Wild Wild West shit.
Yeah. So I looked at it and I'm like, "Oh, it's not the same fucking Julian," but it says Julian Duong, where he wants for all these things. So I fucking laughed. I was like, "No, I don't know who this guy is, but there's Julian Duong in there." He's like, "Don't fucking lie to me." I was like, "I swear to God, go ahead and capture him." I was like, "Go ahead, take him out of his fucking seat while he's playing fucking video games and turn him into the fucking cops or where the fucking get your money. Go ahead." Yeah. And he went in and he's like, "That's Julian Duong?" I was like, "Yeah." "Does it look like the same guy?" He's like 20 years younger, And he's like, "You sure?" I was like, "Ask him for his name, And then he was like, "All right, fine. I guess I got it wrong," because he had heard that Julian Duong goes to all my events. I thought they were like nightlife events, right? So I was like, huh, that's so funny that he got the wrong guy. So then, fast forward a year later, this is where it gets fucking crazier, right? I'm in San Diego for my friend's birthday. I'm hanging out with a bunch of dudes, and we're playing credit card roulette for drinks, right? So that's where the bartender picks a card, and the person whose card gets picked pays for the round. And I was down to the last two. I was about to win this shit, right? And it was me and this other guy who, like, I've never, or at least never met in my head, right? Because my memory sucks. So we're playing, and then my card gets picked, and I'm like, fuck, I guess I lost. So then I got his card back and my card back, and I look at the card and it says Julian Duong. And I was like, huh, you have the same name as my friend Julian. And he was like, Peter, you don't remember me? I go to all your events. And I was like, go to all my events. And it was like, the gears were turning in my head. I'm like, what Julian the fuck? Julian Duong. I see all these pictures. I'm like, what the?
Yeah. Yes, with the calculations in the back.
Yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, shit, how long have I known you for? He's like, for a couple of years now. I've been going to your events. I always order bottle service. And I was like, oh, my fucking God. It's the wanted Julian Duong. And then I had told the homie Donovan about this, which is my partner in the events. And I was like, so how did you start going to my events? He's like, oh, I go through Donovan. I get bottles and stuff. So then I knew that Donovan knew about the story, but he also didn't connect the dots, right? So I FaceTimed him, and I was like, yo, look who I'm with, your homie Julian. Wink, wink, And then in my head, I was like, fuck, dude, this guy just won credit card roulette. I should turn his ass in. But can you imagine like how that's such a crazy coincidence that...
Dude, that's crazy.
Right? So then I told Julian, I texted my friend Julian. I was like, yo, your ass was about to go to jail last night? He's like, what? What are you talking about? And I told him the whole story. He's like, that fool was about to get me fucking arrested because people were going to mistake me for him.
I love that a part of this is that like it's your memory where you don't remember that this guy's been coming to your events for years. Because Peter told us a story last time where there was a girl that he had gone on a few dates with, or one date. And then she was at one of his events and she was like talking to him and their friends and everything. And she laughed and he was like, do you know that girl? Even though he'd already been on a date with her.
My memory sucks. That's how bad it is.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Or you just go on a lot of dates.
Oh, that was the only day I've ever been on.
That's the only day he's ever been on.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
The only day I've ever been on.
Explain?
So, like, to me, there's, like, dating, right? Is when you're actually seeing someone, actively seeing someone. Okay. And then there's going on a date where it's, like, you're trying to get to know this person. And, like, and to me, that was, like, the only one that I've done, where I've like gone to actually get to know this person for the purpose of like maybe romantically getting involved. Even though in my mind I knew I wasn't gonna, and that story was actually because she approached me in a club. So like she turned me around. She's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know I think you're cute. Like, nice, would you like to go on a date?" Yeah. And I was like, "Damn, you're totally not my type, but I want to applaud you for like your courage. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking awesome. And I don't want to deter from ever doing that in the future."
Wow, that's a very noble like intent.
I know. I do it for the hose,
You do it for her future, like self-esteem.
Exactly.
Rather than for the,
Yeah. Okay. So we went on a date, and then I knew there was nothing there, but I was like, the way I think about things is like, if I'm here, I'm just gonna make the most of it. Let's just have fun. Yeah. If anything, just be friends. And after that, I had a trip to Asia for like a month or something like that. So I was gone. She was like, "Yeah, call me when you're back from Asia." Totally forget. As I always do. So when I saw her again, like I didn't remember who she was. It had been a month. I only seen her like once, and when she was talking to me, I was with a friend. I thought she was the other person's friend. So when it came to me, like finally, like, oh shit, that was the girl that I went on a date with, and I barely remembered still. Like I don't know what triggered her, but I was in my friend's car, and then she comes up to the window. She's like, "Carolyn, like, don't believe anything that Peter says. He thinks that I'm really into him. I'm really not, though. I'm not. He just thinks that." And I was like, "What the fuck? I never said that. I never even revealed that because that's not what I thought." So by me being fucking drunk and like inconsiderate, I was like, yeah. "Carolyn, get the fuck out of here. Put the car in reverse. Let's go. And she's like, no. Listen, like I'm not into him like that. I swear. And I was like, "Carolyn, get the fuck out of here. Let's fucking leave this bitch. Let's go." And she was like, Peter, be nice. Like, don't say that about her. I was like, okay. Let's get the fuck out. Let's get the fuck out.
She's like holding on to the car as they're driving away.
Don't believe him.
So one thing Peter didn't actually mention though was he's actually a huge like Marvel versus Capcom 2 like player, like really, really good.
So you like fighter games?
Yeah, I play fighter games too.
Yeah.
Marvel's Capcom, all the Street Fighters. That's why I play Smash now.
Yeah.
That's the only game that I continue to play. Everything else kind of like fell off for me.
Me and my buddy, we used to play. And we played all the time. We thought we were like pretty good and stuff, using like the top tier characters and like kicking ass.
Melee, you mean?
No, Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Oh, I never played
and
that
then one day, Peter and our friend Ivan come and play with us. Oh my god, I have never been so abused. Like it was so bad. Like in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you can have 3 characters, and you can rank them by tiers and stuff. So we're all using like the top tier characters.
Yeah.
They come in and they use like the low tier characters, and they like 3 stock. It's like they just completely kill all our characters. And I was like, wow, like I've never been like so like beaten so bad. Yeah. And just to give you an idea of how good they are, or at least like our friend is, because I mean you're really good too, because he grew up playing in the arcades and everything. Yeah. But our friend Ivan, he's like top tier. His friends are like the best players in the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we had a birthday party, and the number 1 ranked like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 player in the US came to his birthday party, and they had a little TV outside in the backyard, and they're all playing there, and I was like, this is nuts. Like this is some crazy shit. Like you're seeing some like high ass level play, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like
at a birthday party?
At a birthday party. So random birthday. We had fucking mariachi. There was a birthday cake, like carne asada, and then they're just all playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I'm like, oh.
And also like world class like Marvel vs. Capcom in your
like
so
top of the top elite,
Dude, the gaming scene is kind of insane though, because
it's crazy now.
Yeah, I went back then when the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 scene was like huge. And like I was like, damn, these motherfuckers play video games all day. Like, how the fuck did they make a living? It turns out like betting was
now
like a
you
huge
can.
thing. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like what our parents told us, like, hey, stop fucking playing video games. You'll just be a fucking loser for the rest of your life. They were right about me. But anyways, like it's kind of crazy that it's developed into like a profession now, right? Because no one saw it coming back then.
Really wish it had been around when I was young, because I love video games.
Dude.
Like I grew up playing RPGs too. I played like a lot of Mario games, but I played Super Mario RPG, which was my favorite game.
Yeah.
A lot of PlayStation. You know it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But, like
Our RPG is like one of the best RPGs.
Yeah, it's one of the best RPGs of all. My favorite.
All right, top 3 RPGs.
Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars.
Mm-hmm.
I did like. I think it was Dragon Quest.
Oh, Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest was really fun. And what's my third one?
Pokemon.
Oh, actually, yeah, Pokemon is an RPG.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I played all the Pokemons. Yeah, the Pokemon
true.
games were fun. Because, dude, I grew up playing a bunch of video. I played all the Pokemon games. Had my Game Boy. Had pretty much every console. Had Nintendo 64, GameCube, PlayStation, PS2. Played like all different types of games like Onimusha, Maximo, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, and like going from game consoles and then transitioning to like playing PC games. Where like in high school we would ditch. And we were in sophomore year. We would ditch and we'd walk our ass to Cyber City and we'd play Dota all day.
Dude,
we play on the
times,
Warcraft
man.
3.
Times,
we play Footman Frenzy.
Dude,
like
good times. Like,
we'd go across the street and get rice balls from Mitsuwa and the little sodas that you pop.
Yeah.
And then we take them.
one-
Yes, those. And I was like, what is this? And we'd just be playing at a cyber cafe for like the longest fucking time. And I played Dota, played Han, played LOL, played Dota 2. Played all that, and what really got me though was WoW. I spent so much time on World of Warcraft, and I was like, man, I look back and I'm like, I spent so many hours playing video games.
do you think that shaped you as a person?
Yes, I think I can see some of my habits.
Yeah.
And I know there's good and bad ones where I'm like, okay, sometimes I have to gamify stuff in my own
I feel
life.
the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to gamify stuff in my own life in order for me to like do it.
Yeah.
Or like do it consistently and focus on it.
Yeah, if you don't get points, then like what's
Exactly.
the point?
That's
you know?
what it is.
It's like the same thing as going to the gym for me. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm not increasing the squat, then
Yeah.
like what's
How
the
much
point?
experience points do I get for this squat?
Yeah, how are you max out the stats? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I look at it because like I know it has to do something with my dopamine too, where
For
like
sure,
the kind of feeling you get from playing these video games, especially with RPGs, where every level and stuff like you get some kind of dopamine. Oh, level 2. Oh, level 3. You know, I know it's affected me in a certain way where sometimes I haven't wanted to do stuff, and I have to like rethink the way I think about the world to like get myself to do things. Because the moment that I started to become more, I would say, more myself and more successful in my own stuff that I want to do in my life, is the moment I gave up video games. Because I had to, because I knew that I couldn't do both. It's like it's this whole other hobby, and I was giving so much time into it, and I love video games. Like it was so fun, but because I know what I'm like, and I know that I'll invest my time into it, I can't play them. Like between the age of I gave up video games around 23, 24, and since then I've played maybe one game during COVID, 2 games during COVID, and one other game before COVID. I've played 3 games maybe since then. Because every time, and I've had a little like ups and downs throughout the years where I'll download some kind of MOBA game on my phone, some random ones, and I'll spend like $50 like buying this shit. You know, I know. And I'm like, oh, gotta get this. And then I catch myself like the next day, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And I'm like, delete. I don't care if I spend money on it. Delete. I'm not playing this again, and I'll be good for months. Wow. You know, there's some kind of like there's these ads for these like mobile games that always appear and stuff. I don't remember. There's one that's so prevalent, always comes up.
Shadow Legends.
There it is. That's exactly the one I was thinking of.
Did you download it?
Yeah, I fucking got it. I got it. I like put money into it. I was playing it.
Is it fun? I've never heard of a single person play it.
It was fun. It was fun. It's
outside
like
of the meme.
It's like this, like you've taken the bones of an RPG, you know, and you've kind of molded it with a little bit of like a tower defense kind of. You know, you take some aspects of tower defense, a little bit of Dota here and there, different parts, little side quests and stuff, and you kind of throw it all in one. And you know, it has its goods and bad things, you know, but it's like they know who they're targeting. You know, some of these people have these addictions, like myself. You know, where I've where I've grown up playing games, and like sometimes it's an escape. Wow. So I'll say that because I realized that in my own life, it's an escape from my own responsibilities and things I want to do. And maybe when I was younger, it was an escape because I wasn't where I wanted to be. And like it's
same,
you know, and you feel progression in this space that you're not getting progression in your life.
I think that the whole thing why games are even fun in the first place is because of that progress that you can see. Like that's the only point. Even games without points, right? Like you can get farther in Mario, like the original Marios, you can get to the next level and it's like, wow, now I'm progressing. You can't see that in real life. And that's the whole point of dopamine in the first place. So games kind of like hacked biology, I guess.
I see it as like you are creating this fantasy world, you know, regardless of what the game is, where your persona or your abilities are transferred over here and you're seeing progression here.
Exactly.
You know, and something about that is like this escape mechanism because sometimes you don't have it in your life, you know, and obviously everyone has different reasons. This is more of mine. Or like I catch myself, I read a shitload. Like I read sometimes like a book a week, and I had to like take a step back because I'm like, why am I reading so much? And so why is it like so much sci-fi and fantasy? I'm like, oh, escape mechanism, doing it again. Wow. You know, I've just transitioned it from like video games to like
that's wild.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask, you know, we talked about video games, internet culture, and stuff, and obviously you've been in all of that. What you know was that a factor in you wanting to become a game developer, software engineer, and how has that affected your career path now that you know?
It's actually, I had a really windy path to get to becoming a software engineer. I actually started with a film major, actually, for like one quarter, and decided that wasn't for me. And then I went to business, and I did finance, like accounting, finance major, and I finished with that. And then I did public accounting. Yeah, I was an auditor for a little bit. Yeah, I was like halfway to CPA, and I was like, no, this is not it. Yeah, for me at least.
Yeah.
And then I did finance after that, like corporate finance. And then around this time, I had friends that were doing like coding boot camps, and they were like pretty successful. And they were like, dude, you should just do it. We're just like one of them that did the coding boot camp stayed over at my place in the Bay Area, and he was just telling me all about it. He's like, dude, you maximize your Excel to make like that's my favorite part of the job, right? Like coding these crazy Excel things to. Like, so I don't have to work, basically. And then, so it's like, dude, you should just try it. Just try coding. So I just did that. And then luckily for me, like, it made a lot of sense to me and it was like really fun. And then so took the dive, just quit that and then became a developer. Wow. Yeah, lucky for me too. I got to Facebook.
First of all, tell us about like working for Facebook. But
sure.
I know you left there eventually and now you're doing you're doing your own thing now.
Yeah. Oh, so to get back to the gaming thing though, how does that impact my life and how did that make me a developer? I'm not really sure how that made me a developer other than like I learned how like computers work, like maybe even subconsciously, like things are just systems, and then you just kind of have to like maximize and like figure out how the systems work. And then now I'm making the systems. It's like kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it was more intuitive, just easier to pick up for me. I think the biggest thing I got out of gaming, seriously, was like I was not very good at school. Like seriously, I was just like
Same.
a very average student, and like playing games, I just played competitively. Like that's the first thing I think I tried at, like because without anybody telling me, you know.
Yeah.
And so just from that experience, I was like, damn, I got to this really far point in this pretty competitive game. I'm pretty sure like maybe I'm not that dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just made me a lot
Yep.
more confident. That's probably the biggest thing I got out of gaming in the early years. Yeah.
Oh.
It's competency in other fields gives you inspiration to have competency in other fields, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like super random, but like if I didn't play Han for whatever 4 or 5 years or whatever it was, and I didn't get to the top whatever percentage I was, and then maybe I wouldn't have like this is all subconscious, but maybe I wouldn't have quit working in finance and just like YOLO'd into
Yeah.
a coding boot camp. Yeah. So maybe that's how it impacted. I'm not sure, but it feels like that looking
makes
back.
sense.
Yeah. So you had questions about like what was working at Facebook?
Yeah, it was like working on Facebook.
It was really cool. I think that's the coolest job. I love teaching too, so maybe it's different. But like as far as like corporate jobs go, it was like the best.
Really?
Yeah, my experience varies because it's like 60,000 people, right? Probably a lot less now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks to the Zucks.
Did you ever hang out with Zuckerberg?
No, I saw him once.
Really?
He has Q&A every month, and you can go and he'll do his thing in person. But I was too lazy for that. But I did see him eating a pickle. Like the one time I saw him in person, like I was getting lunch. He was eating a pickle with a fork, and I was like, "This is the most Mark Zuckerberg thing I've ever seen in my life." Yeah.
I mean, what kind of conversation would you have?
I was like, dude, thanks for the barbecue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know, like, you guys should visit Facebook campus if you ever have a chance. I think it's like sick. Have you guys been to any tech offices? Like,
I've been to Facebook in Singapore.
oh yeah, that sounds interesting. I've never been there. I've been to Facebook in Tokyo.
Oh, how's that?
That was crazy. Like the snacks are great.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Japanese snacks are just like the best.
So I can talk, like, I worked on the campus team. Like, I made products that made it more easy, I guess, to work on campus.
Oh, that's
So I was
interesting.
like kind of like involved with campus stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like more intimately aware of like what we had going on.
Yeah.
So like it's really cool. Like I rented an apartment next to the shuttle. And if you guys don't know, like the shuttles are just like, they don't want you to drive because that's like way too many people going to the office. So they bring you on a bus. And if you're in the park, like where the parking lot is, there's like there's like a Facebook section and there's a Google section. And then there's like a Salesforce section and an Apple section. And we're all looking at each other like every morning,
Yeah.
like staring each other down. It's like pretty funny. And then the buses are not school buses. They're like charter ass.
Wow.
Like it's like the top of the line. There's no more expensive bus.
Damn.
I think each one was like at least $700K or something. And then they have high speed internet all on it and like everything. It's like the best. Everything is the best, basically. And it was like crazy shocking.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they take you right to campus, and then there's you know, I'm sure you've heard there's food everywhere, but what shocked me was like food is really good.
Yeah.
It's not just like random cafe food.
Yeah.
It's like restaurant quality. Sometimes they'll have like special like Michelin star chefs or something that run the services. There's like so on the main campus there's 5 sub campuses, I guess, and each one of those has at least 6 cafes or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they got like dessert places. Like I don't know, it's crazy. And just because I was on the campus team, there's like we're just more aware of all the shit that's going on.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool.
How was work-life balance? I mean, you went from basically non-tech and into tech, right?
Yeah. So I would say my experience like heavily varies. Like depends what team you're on, really, and it depends on your manager. That probably makes the biggest difference. For me, it was really chill. I would say I was there for like 3.5 years. For the first year, I worked probably 60, 50 hours a week.
Oh, wow.
But that's because I wanted to. I loved it. And then after that, I worked like 20 hours a week.
Really?
Especially the last year, I already wanted to quit for a while.
You checked out?
Yeah, I was working the very bare minimum. I would wake up when the first meeting was, and then sleep, and then go back to the next meeting, and then just like play Sekiro. That was
Fucking
COVID.
hate that game.
Oh, that game's really.
That's what
That
I played
game's so
during
good.
COVID,
Yeah,
and I
me
was like,
too.
this is so hard. This is so hard.
Yeah,
This is the game I was talking about.
What game?
Remember we were talking about games during COVID?
Yeah.
That's the game I told you, and I was like, I tried to play it, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm gonna go play WoW.
progression is hard in that game for
It's
sure.
really
Yeah.
hard,
You
and
know,
it's like
there's
it's
no
so
way to
rewarding.
cheat it too. Yeah,
There's no way to cheat. Yeah. It's so rewarding once you actually beat a boss or beat somebody, and you
Yeah.
get. I'm looking on YouTube, I'm like, okay, gotta do this. Okay, gotta do this. Okay,
It's crazy.
my
Yeah, me too. And you can't even copy what they do on YouTube.
you
'cause-
can't.
Why?
It's hard, man. I thought it was gonna be like. You ever play Onimusha?
No, what's that?
Onimusha is the best samurai game ever. Like the best one.
I've never even heard of it actually.
It's originally for PlayStation, then PlayStation 2. They have it on
Pretty
PlayStation
old.
3 now, but that one's one of my favorites. But that was gonna be like that, and I'm like, this is way harder. This is above my skill level.
It's a really hard game.
So, sorry, what made you kind of like not want to try anymore?
That's a good question.
Because you said you were like working 60 hours because you wanted to, you're excited, you know? Like,
Yeah, that was just because like, dang, this is so cool. I kind of made it, and I was wanting to prove myself that I'm like I can fit in here. You know, part of me thinks that it's like a. I want to say it's an Asian thing almost like, or maybe it's a feeling of inadequacy like growing up. Like I wasn't good at school. I went to well, I didn't go to a bad school, but like. So how would what I would say is like my cousins, like family members and stuff were doing really cool stuff. And I was just there doing like public accounting. Not that there's anything wrong with that, really. It's a really good profession. But I felt like this isn't for me. I wasn't just fulfilled or happy or anything. And I was like, and then I quit and I was like, I'm not really fulfilling the Asian
stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just kind of felt like inadequate for a long time, I guess. And then when I got to Facebook, I was like, dude, this is crazy. I can prove that, like, I could have been a doctor like that guy, like my cousin. Like, seriously, like, or, you know, whatever it was that my cousins were doing. And, yeah. And so I worked my ass off and I was like, it was also fun too. So, yeah, it was cool. Like having Ivy League coworkers and then like being able to like perform is fun. And then after that, I realized I don't really care. I've done it already. Like, what do I really want to do? Is the real question, I guess. It's COVID, you know. You have a big think about your life. Like,
Oh, so that's when it was happening. Like when you
yeah, when I kind
of
of just like phoned it in.
So you got to this point where you're like, this isn't what you want to do. And
Pretty much, yeah.
What happened? What did you want to do?
I still don't know. I would say that I'm still trying to figure it out. What I can say for sure is that it's probably not working at a giant corporation.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that again too, but and again, those are probably the smartest people I've worked with. It's just the ambitions are a little bit different, I think. I don't know if you guys know what I mean. Like if you work at a big corporation, usually the people that are around you have the goals of like they want like a house and like a dog and like 2 kids and like to get married and shit.
Yeah.
Seriously, nothing wrong with that. Like,
Yeah.
if anything, Facebook is like one of the best places you could achieve that goal for work-life balance, for like how much money you make, for all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want. I didn't care about that stuff. So I just wanted to see what else is out there. And in a sense, I don't know what I want my life to be like still, but I just don't know. I just know for sure that I didn't want to be my manager.
Oh wow.
And then after that, I did some crypto stuff. Like I became a developer in crypto, and I met a lot of people in the crypto space. Dude, the attitude is completely different.
What do you mean by the attitude's completely different?
Oh yeah, so like instead of having the ambitions of having a whatever doghouse
yeah.
like stable life, these people want to like literally change the world.
Oh,
Like they want to be
wow.
either broke or like get broke trying, or like change the world by doing whatever.
Wow.
It's like a huge difference. Like startup scenes is like a huge difference in ambition. And I don't know if I want to do that either, to be honest. Like, I think it sounds really cool.
That's so interesting, though. Yeah, like completely different mindset. Because I do know people in tech, and you're right. They just want to like have a regular life. You know, buy a home, have kids. You know,
Stability.
Tech
whatever.
is literally the best way to do that, I think.
Yeah, and I can see it. You know,
2023,
like it was crazy because I was like, damn, don't you guys work like crazy? But So all these people doing all these things, going on vacations, whatnot.
Yeah, it's an average job, I think.
Yeah,
For the most
And-
part.
In the crypto, I don't know. Well, I know people in crypto, but not in the way like developers.
Yeah, you probably know like investors and stuff. And
Yeah, I know investors. I know like one guy who started like his own crypto thing, which is
I guess
pretty
it's a startup.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird. I don't know exactly how it works, but he owns like an exotic car rental company, and he has like this thing where it's like if you own this crypto or whatever, so you get to drive like Lamborghinis and Ferraris and
Ali?
shit. Yeah, Lee. Yeah.
Oh, he's one of our next guests, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I'm like, that's so interesting because he has no background in tech at all, but his partner does, and it's just finding ways to kind of intertwine the two things, right?
Yeah, the way I see it right now, at least well, maybe not right now, but in the last couple of years, like you could have done all that stuff technically without crypto, but if you add a crypto element, it's great marketing. People suddenly have like, oh, I have an NFT instead of just like an email that allows me to sign in to get this Lamborghini. It could have just been an email.
Yeah.
But now that it's an NFT, it's like, damn, that's cool. I don't know.
For me, this is the way I perceive things as a consumer. Like, it seems like tech was, like Facebook, Twitter, Uber, Airbnb, and now it's like it went to crypto, and now it's AI. Like, it seems like that's kind of like the big trending topic now.
Absolutely.
Have you ever met any AI developers?
Oh yeah, I mean, Facebook has world-class AI.
That's so interesting because like,
yeah.
I have such like a love-hate relationship with tech. Like Mario will hear me bitch about fucking tech shit all the time because I'm like, why the fuck does this not work? And then you tell me like world-class AI, and then I'll fucking like log on to like Facebook from my fucking computer
Yeah.
and it'll be like, oh, you have to do the two-way authentication thing, and they'll send it to my phone. And I'll check my phone for the code. It doesn't send me the code. And I go back and I can't log in my computer. I'm
It's
like,
not perfect, man.
I'm like, how the fuck can you get something so small like not right?
Yeah.
And to me, I never understood that. So I'm curious, like as a developer, how come these like small little issues always seem to like come up, even though it's like you have world class people that you're working with?
I would say it's because shit is hard. There's no other way to say it. Like, you're trying to account for scale, basically. You're trying to account for billions of people if you're at Facebook.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, some edge case is gonna like fuck something up. So if you don't, like, sometimes things just go wrong. Like, you're trying to build something that would be the best for the most amount of people.
So I know you're developing this app specifically correlated with ChatGPT. What is it exactly? What does it do?
It's called Mind Goblin. No, just kidding.
Mind Goblin.
Mind Goblin these nuts. No.
Oh, damn.
Got him.
Got me.
No, it's a place to store and share GPT prompts. That's why I was gonna say. So if you come up with the perfect prompt for your every single place, then now you can save it and then just update what you need. Now this place is a little bit different because of this, and then it'll write it for you, and then you can save it, share it, like that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. And you can browse other people's. One of them that I made last month was a Valentine's Day gift idea / date idea
Yeah.
kind of deal. So you just like update it with a description of your partner, I guess, and then it will give you like 10 ideas. They're pretty good, and that's what I use for TikTok.
Yay.
That money right there, that was the gift.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So kind of walk me through this exactly. So what is the difference between this and like typing it in yourself?
There is no difference. The difference, like if you typed it yourself into ChatGPT, it would have the exact same output. But where my app comes in is like, if you come up with the perfect,
it's more efficient.
yeah, you don't have to start from scratch when you're coming up with the descriptions for this place. You can browse other people's if we get enough scale. You can browse other people's to see how exactly they've made it, and then just use theirs.
Okay.
Coming up with a prompt and like knowing what to use it for is actually, I think, the problem that we're trying to solve.
Most of the battle, right?
Yeah. Like the fact that it's also like knowing what is even possible with it. So you used it for Valentine's stuff. You used it for descriptions of stuff, but maybe you wanted to use it for Valentine's stuff, but it just never occurred to you.
Yeah.
But now if you browse, and then it would be featured probably, so you'd be like, oh damn, that's cool.
So you're gonna have like categories.
For sure, yeah, we already do. Yeah.
Hey, so I'm gonna have to look into that.
Are you
Yeah.
focusing on any niche?
Yeah, like actually looking back, this is like the first bigger scale project I've done. Other stuff was just like much smaller. So I think I should have started with the niche and then made it from there and then expanded, but went the other way around. Made the product like a very MVP version, minimum viable product version, and then started seeing who would just randomly use it. And actually the dating scene was kind of what caught like most people's attention.
What do you mean by dating? Like, how do you use it for dating?
Yeah, it's really funny. Like, I made this prompt for like that comes up with like pickup lines, basically. Like you match with someone on Hinge, or like if you're trying to match with someone on Hinge, you just put a little bit about their profile, or you just put the prompt even, and I've made the perfect prompt. It's not perfect, but I've made a prompt where it'll give you like 10 pickup lines, like that you can respond to their prompt with. That's one thing. Another thing is like update your profile with like you put a description of yourself and it'll make you sound cool, like witty version, like clever, whatever. I think what's interesting is it knows how to do like turns of phrases, I guess, like witty English things, like double entendres, you know?
Yeah.
Like the things that you wouldn't really think of,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it will give you like 10 of those.
Wow.
You're like, so those are cool for your descriptions, for picking up people. And then like even responding is another big one. Like this girl's like, I don't know, you guys have a pretty good conversation, but then you want to like nail this next one. You just put a little bit about what's going on in the conversation. It'll give you like 10 ways you can respond. It's like pretty crazy how well it works. Yeah.
That's
Whoa.
like technology improving your. Like,
I don't know.
Riz.
It's about to,
Your game?
Yeah, yeah.
game.
I actually met someone that made like Riz.ai. Like
Riz.ai.
Yeah.
Oh my
he's a
God.
Berkeley student actually, but he's like it's an app. It plugs in your what am I saying? It's a iOS keyboard with ChatGPT in it.
Oh.
So you can like you want to respond with something with Riz. I think that's like their pitch.
So it's like you're dating an AI.
Not really. Like your keyboard becomes like plugged into ChatGPT. So if you want to respond to someone's text, you can just say respond to this and make it more
They Rizify it, basically.
Yeah, but isn't
charisma.
that just the AI responding for you every time?
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
That's dating the AI. No.
No, the other person's dating an AI.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The other
Yeah,
person's
yeah.
dating the AI.
So yeah, I actually wrote a blog post on this. Like,
that's
it's gonna be crazy. Like once, like I think we're in this golden era right now. Are you guys like dating? Like you should use ChatGPT right now.
Actually, I just had an idea when you told me that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a cool experiment if we made Peter a Hinge profile and use all of the prompts.
This would
like,
make a great TikTok.
Yeah, think of
Yeah.
the content, Peter.
Yeah.
So, and all
God.
the responses will be through ChatGPT. We'll use his app and
Yeah.
we'll cater it. We'll make your whole thing like that
Yeah.
using that, and we'll see how much it actually like
Yeah.
works.
So context, I'm currently not dating. I haven't dated in like a year and a half or something like that. So Mario's a chronic dater, so he's constantly always dating, right? Completely
Say it
opposite.
like it's a bad thing. like
no, not a bad thing.
it's an illness.
Yeah, maybe an illness in this case. but you know, yeah, I'd be open to trying that for
It'd be funny,
content's
yeah.
sake, you know. But
I think just as a disclaimer, I think it's best for brainstorming. Like it'll give you cool ideas, and then you kind of just like slightly edit it to make it sound more casual and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
so
but it's pretty good. Like I'll show you guys later.
It'd be a fun project.
I'm kind of curious where I'm assuming, you know, because now the way I think about things is that while it might not exist yet, it's gonna sooner or later. That's the way I think about
Yeah,
like
yeah.
technology, right?
Oh wait, which part?
That like if it doesn't exist yet, sooner or later it's gonna happen. Like so, the idea that came to mind right now is that in the future there's probably gonna be something where you could have like a mic or something, and then you're talking to someone, and then someone's wearing an earphone, and then ChatGPT will tell you what to say or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like your
for
coach?
sure.
Yeah, because like right now you're basically just saying that you can only do it through technology, right? But once you meet a person in real life, you still have to have game there. You can't be like a complete like opposite of what you allow to be online.
I met this guy that's making a startup for that. I mean, not specifically.
Okay,
like
okay.
on sales calls, sometimes the customer potential customer has questions, and it's tech sales, right? So the sales guy is not that technical, so it'll listen in on the sales call and then give you the technical information. It's like one step
that's
away from what you're
cool.
doing.
Yeah. So you're taking voice recognition and using that to provide you
Using
with,
ChatGPT,
Yeah.
it'll turn that into a search and then enterprise like search and then like return it.
sick.
I gotta
Yeah.
talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Maybe we could take this off the interview, but
Yeah.
maybe it's that.
But we're one step away from like
yeah.
in-person chat riz. Like, I don't know.
So aside from that, like right now I'm in the mortgage biz, right? And
Okay.
I like technology. I think it makes a lot of things easier. And the mortgage biz it's a fucking fossil. Like it's like everything's super old, done old school way. It's just very inefficient. And I think sooner or later, people like me, the brokers, will be replaced by just technology. And I think it'll be a way more streamlined process, and there's gonna be a lot less mistakes that humans go through. But I'm just curious as to like even your job as a developer, how it's gonna affect a bunch of people's careers, because that's kind of like the hot topic now, right?
Yeah.
Being replaced by technology.
I can't speak too much on the mortgage side because I just never worked on it. But at least for the next, so like what I was saying about like the dating thing is it's not perfect, right?
Yeah.
It'll get you like cool ideas and stuff, and then you still got to do it. So it's like 80% there, I would say. As a developer, when I try to use it, it's also 80% there. Like it'll give me some like starter code, and I still got to like debug it and figure out what to actually do with it. So in the near future, I think we're fine. In the long run, we're probably gonna have to adapt.
Well,
Yeah.
what's near future and what's long run? Like
I
what
can't
time
really
frame is
tell. I think things will start really happening once everyone starts using ChatGPT. Like I don't think we're at this level of like mass consumer adoption yet.
Yeah.
I think it's happening really quickly. We just watched the South Park episode on ChatGPT like
Oh,
last
really?
night. Yeah, so like the fact that they have an episode on it, it's going to be happening really
To
quickly.
be fair though, South Park moves fast. Those
Yeah, they do,
motherfuckers
they
catch
do.
on to
Yeah.
trend, and they have an episode like the
Can't
next
believe
week.
it's still around.
Yeah, but then there's like John Oliver did an episode on ChatGPT. So like, I mean, he's pretty fast too. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is like, things will start getting weird when you guys could use ChatGPT right now to date, and then after that, once everybody starts using it to date, things are like you're gonna be not sure if you're talking to an
Yeah.
AI or they're talking to an AI.
Yeah.
My AI is dating your AI.
Yeah, I put the Spider-Man meme in the blog post I wrote.
Oh really?
Yeah, because of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, recruiters are gonna be starting to write their job descriptions and shit using ChatGPT.
Makes sense.
People are gonna write their resumes. Like it's gonna be it's gonna be Spider-Man's for every profession, and that's gonna be really weird.
What would you say is the first profession that you think is gonna go?
Right now, it's copywriting for sure. Like
Wow.
there's this company called Jasper AI. It's like huge in the space of generative AI. They're making they're the first people to have like like Facebook has a conference. Everyone has a developer conference, whatever. They're the first people to have generative AI conference, and that's coming up soon, I think. Anyway,
Wow. That's
yeah. So their whole thing is copywriting. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys know anyone that does a lot of copywriting? Like it streamlines the whole workflow.
no.
Like you just start off with an idea, it gives you an outline. From the outline, you can say like just right click it and then
Damn.
like write me a paragraph for this. Okay, change the tone, and then like you're done. It was like 80% faster, I would imagine,
That's
maybe more.
Crazy.
What is copywriting exactly?
Copy is basically the stuff that you see in like a lot of like sales pitch
Yeah.
or descriptions. Like when you see like a product and all
Yeah.
that text and shit like that, that's copy. Copywriter is the person who like types all that shit out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can imagine, those people,
Yeah.
they would be one of the first to
Yeah,
go for sure.
like Amazon descriptions, right?
Yeah.
Like
That's all done by hand? People do it?
not anymore. I mean,
But it was before.
yeah. I mean, there's no other option.
It's
before.
basically a sales pitch through text.
Got it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they know like, oh, here's a call to action. There's certain vocabulary they use, certain descriptions.
Yeah.
You know.
And then you can add SEO keyword. Like there's SEO built into it.
Oh my god!
Like you can like based on this product description, there's like another thing they plug in to see like how many SEO keywords you used, and then like you can say like you want to add more or
And
less.
optimize it?
Yeah, like based on like how big your product is. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
pretty nuts. Jasper really figured that shit out. But the only thing about them is like they cost $50 a month or something per
Oh,
user.
okay.
They got competition now though, but
Yeah.
like they're really ahead in the space.
What would you say? What is the most expensive like AI app? You know,
I don't
Is-
know. No, mine's free. Mine's free.
yeah, because $50 doesn't sound like that crazy. I pay like $60 for
Yeah,
Adobe
like
Premiere and shit.
I guess it's good if your job is copywriting.
Yeah.
Of course, you're gonna do it. Yeah. The most expensive? I don't know. That's a good question. There's probably really expensive stuff I just don't know
I can
about.
imagine.
What's the name of your app?
sgpt.app.
What's that's for?
It stands for social in the beginning, but
Okay.
I realized it was too long. So now it just stands for nothing. It's
Got
just-
it.
yeah, I'm opening to changing the name.
Social- What's the G?
GPT. GPT is like the same as ChatGPT.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just
It's
Social.
generative pre-trained transformer, which is the name of the model.
Already
Yeah.
super long.
Yeah, just GPT for short. Yeah.
So what would you say would be the last profession to go?
Maybe artists. I don't know. This is
Really?
gonna be so weird. Depends what kind of art, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Because
you're
I'm surprised
making,
you said artists because the people that I see talk about how AI is terrible for the community is graphic designers.
yeah, if you're a regular ass graphic
Oh.
designers,
Mm-hmm.
you're not that safe. Because the way these things work is they learn from what they see on the internet. If
Yeah.
your thing is like very standard and very like you're making it for commercial use, it's probably going to look standard on purpose.
Yeah.
So it's going to like learn and understand what that is, and then it's going to be able to make those on the spot, right? So like artists are like fine artists are probably never going to go away because
Yeah.
there's like some not like I think we're going to get to this place as a society where the novelty of like being human made will be a thing.
Get rise. Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine like a dating app where they check every single word you use to make sure it's non AI.
yeah.
Yeah, like something like that in like 10 years. I don't know. That's probably I could see that being a thing. But you can take that and expand it to like every industry. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Like your YouTube videos are gonna be like content creation's about to change too.
In which way?
So like content creation is kind of like copywriting, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, let's just talk about YouTube videos. That's kind of like copywriting. You kind of have to write a script and all that stuff. So the first step in this journey is going to be all that stuff is going to be AI assisted. Yeah, it's going to be AI assisted. You can write the outline of the script, kind of just like I mentioned before. It'll help you set the tone based on other stuff you've written before, whatever. It'll even come up with like 10 new ideas based on this, whatever.
That's crazy.
And then the next step is like if we get the video technology good enough, we're almost there.
Yeah.
We're gonna deep fake you,
yeah.
so you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to actually film it anymore.
Yeah.
And then the next step after that is like, well, why don't we just skip the whole process of the human at all? And whenever you want to see the next 10, I don't know, pillows for this winter, it'll just make you that video on the spot as you need it.
We
think we
got
could-
10, 15 years
Yeah.
left.
Like-
you think we could deep fake Joe Rogan's face onto him like right here during this video?
Oh, yeah.
We'll have him as our guest.
Oh, that's true.
Exactly. Like in the future, I think you'll be able to do things like, I want to watch Joe Rogan and Abraham Lincoln have a talk.
Dude, that's so weird. I can imagine it, but
Yeah.
still, that's.
I want to have Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali fight.
Nobody has to create that, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying in the future.
Yeah.
You just say, I want to see it, and then it'll like pull the internet information and it'll just like do
So
that.
crazy.
I think it's going to be like a while, but
Yeah.
that's inevitable, I think.
Okay, so kind of
Yeah.
going off of that, because I recently heard on this podcast where people are getting scammed by AI because people are voice generating and I guess visually generating images and this basically a person and dating people online, and they're just talking to AI, right? They can hear him, so it sounds like a person, and people are falling in love with this AI, and people are getting scammed because they're like, oh, like I love you, but like I need like a plane ticket or I need to pay rent. Like,
The
can you
Tinder
send me
swindler.
money? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But AI, right?
But AI, yeah.
Yeah, like that brings into conversation of basically like humanity a little bit, right? Because the way we think about AI is just technology; it's a robot. But at a certain point, people say that AIs can have like a consciousness.
Yeah.
So this is where it's like a controversial topic because they said like if you make AI do things and it has like a consciousness, is that not like slavery of like a almost kind of like a person?
I don't know the answer to this, man. Like
Yeah, that's-
people with like it's like it goes like it escapes technology and goes back to philosophy probably.
Yeah.
Like what the heck is a consciousness even? I don't know. Like now I have to question it. Like I thought being human made you conscious, but now maybe not. Like, are there levels to it too? That's another thing. Is a monkey more conscious than a dog? And then if you can say that, are some AIs more conscious than other AIs? What does that even mean?
Are AIs more
I don't know,
conscious than
man.
human beings?
I would.
Yeah,
I
it
would
could be too. I don't know.
I would say it depends on. I mean, obviously, your definition. For me, consciousness is like you experiencing life. So, like animals, like they experience life, you know. And
But what
like,
is life?
What is life? Yeah, that's the problem.
again, very subjective opinion, but it's
Yeah.
like just your experience of like living through the world, which is just like, you know, you're waking up in the morning and having what is
So
it? Breathing.
You're very what's his name? Descartes about it. Cognito or ghost. Like if you feel, then that means you are.
To an extent, yes. I
Yeah.
mean, at least to me, or the way I see it is, you know, you experiencing your life is you being able to like, not even being self-aware, but it's like feeling, experiencing, enjoying, like being open to your sensations. And I think that's the same thing with like animals too, where it's like you have like, let's say like, you know, chimpanzees, which have a higher brain function. That doesn't mean they're conscious or unconscious. The fact that you can experience your life, their lives, makes you conscious.
So-
that doesn't mean they have the similar intelligence as us, but we try to label intelligence as a very like human thing, where it's like you're only intelligent if you know how to like speak in these words and communicate, or how to build this thing, you know, where there's type of animal intelligence and we prioritize human intelligence, say that makes us conscious, but that's not necessarily true. So in terms of slavery though, it's like, does it matter? Because we try to enslave pretty much everything else. Like we have cows enslaved, we have chickens enslaved. Like if you really think about it, we have these animals, and it's like we have people too. There's still countries in the world where there's still a bunch of slavery. Some of like I forgot the name. One of these countries in Africa has the highest like slave population from anywhere in the world, and it's still going on to this day. And it's crazy, you know. So I think slavery is really part of the human experience. So I'm not sure it matters as much.
I mean,
for
it
AIs.
definitely matters.
It matters.
because
It matters in that sense.
It's
but
a moral thing.
Oh
Right?
yeah, yeah.
People talk about it all the time. Just because there's a lot of slavery in Africa doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
Right? We understand that as we develop as human beings, we understand that it's actually wrong. So that's what I'm saying is that, you know, maybe the wake up experience for AI in the future would be a little bit different, right? It's like maybe an on button versus like a fucking alarm. But you talk about feelings, like in the future, these things might have feelings, right?
Yeah.
They might fall in
yeah.
love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They might feel pain. They might be heartbroken. Like that's where it gets like tricky because not only can it feel these things, but it'll probably be able to verbalize and vocalize these things.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, okay, this computer just told me I heard its feelings. Like that's crazy. This computer just called me toxic. That's fucking crazy.
The way I see it, at least, it's like you can kind of compare it to a human brain. Like our brains are an organic computer, right? And the way we perceive information, we have this these hardwired instincts that have, you know, some kind of information already contained. And the way we grow up and experience the world, we're inputting new information. But with an AI, it's kind of the opposite. We're us asking these questions, us Googling, ChatGPT, all this, we are creating all these like neural pathways with all the questions that we ask and all the images that we send and all the things that we're giving them the human experience. And they're taking all that information and we're creating this kind of like brain in a sense. And one day it might get to this like, you know, tipping point, this critical mass where it's like it's already experienced all these things from all these different humans and it becomes like actually conscious and able to like be like self-aware.
What does that mean though? Like, what does it mean to be conscious? Like, what is that tipping point for you? Well, what would you have to see, I guess, in order for you to determine that something is conscious?
I think it would have to be something like the being in question asking themselves like, who am I? You know, because at that point it's like you are questioning, you're outside of the like the being in the present moment where you're not asking like the internal question of like, you know, who am I? What is my identity? If you get to that point where you can actually question your identity.
So self-reflection,
Yeah.
kind of. If I ask ChatGPT right now, can you self-reflect? I think it will give you a pretty good answer. Like, it will give you...
I totally believe that as well because I remember. Do you remember Smarter Child?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember asking
yeah.
Smarter Child the same
that
thing.
was the AIM thing, right?
yeah, it was the AIM. Like, what was that AI? Was
Bot.
that what is it? Bot? Like a bot?
I mean, what is AI? I think that was just like a super simple...
yeah.
Take your question, like parse your text and then come up, like
Yeah.
look in a library of responses and then...
So
Yeah.
I feel that we can take Smarter Child, ChatGPT as maybe like infant, maybe toddler, and it's like a certain. I feel like the self-awareness thing will be different for AI just because we are kind of creating it as we're going along. So I don't know if the way we ask ourselves and we self-reflect is going to be the same way the AI self-reflects, because some of it is programmed. Just because it tells you, like, it gives you an answer to the question doesn't mean it has the same impact that humans do when they ask it. So I'm not saying that it's not correlated and directed and maybe going there, but I think with AI it'll be a bit different. Because it doesn't have the same impact when you ask yourself, like, who am I? What is my identity? There is an emotional and psychological component attached to it where you want to, like, go beyond that and discover, like, who I really am. And I'm not sure if we can say the same thing about AI yet, even though it can give you a response.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're near that point either, but
I see it.
it's like it's really interesting to think, like, what would make that point happen, because like because I know about how the technology works, it just like kind of like in a nutshell, you give it a prompt and it kind of like imagines what the response of that prompt would look like if it was on the internet, like, because it's been trained on the entire internet's data, right?
Can you give us an ELI5?
Yeah.
Exactly how AI works? Because I'm just assuming it pulls stuff from, like, different internet sources, but I don't actually know how AI
Kind
works.
of. Well, there's a ton of different kinds of AI. There's machine learning and deep learning. Okay, so I'll just talk about ChatGPT specifically.
Okay.
The way I guess you can say it works, man, I don't want to be wrong because who's gonna watch this?
If it's wrong, we'll edit it.
We'll fix it with ChatGPT later. Super high level. It's read all the information on the internet, like all the text, basically.
All of it.
All the text from the beginning of the internet to 2022, I guess,
Oh,
or
God,
2021.
Not my Zanga posts, please.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's made like a probability model, basically. So now if you give it a prompt, it would try to imagine what the response would be like if it was on the internet.
It'll try to imagine. I know she uses the word.
Yeah, well, it would just like complete it. Like,
okay.
Oh.
it would be like, like if you give it a really simple, like, okay, a great example is like Grammarly.
Okay.
If you write emails right now, like it kind of autofills the rest.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally that, except longer. That's what it's doing. Yeah.
Deeper than that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's all it's doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to imagine if you were trying to complete this sentence, what would happen, and just doing that with like a paragraph at a time or more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. So,
cool.
so it's like, my like when it auto spells something for me on my phone, like when I'm typing shit out, or it changes the word. Yeah, so it
Kind of
tells me that technology is still a little far away from.
Yeah. So
completing
that's
that,
why
right?
when you say things like consciousness, it's like I know what's going on because people have consciousness discussions on the internet, probably. Oh, by the way, this is also why if you talk about, like, if you try to get more niche things from ChatGPT on the internet, it's going to be like less likely to be right because there's less data about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, when you talk about consciousness, like probably there's been consciousness discussions, so it kind of like learned what
Consciousness.
the meaning of consciousness is by reading the entire internet, right?
Wow.
So if you ask it like, "Hey, are you aware?" It'll act like the chat version will act like it's an AI and like say what it thinks the internet would have said, if that makes sense.
So yeah, I mean, being a person that is pretty deep in the industry, you have worked with other developers and you see what's out there, the products. Are you a little bit fearful of the future and like the basically disconnect that humans are going to have through the integration of AI in lifestyles?
Yes and no. I think that humans have always adapted to things and like any new technology. I think it's very important to ask ourselves what we're going to lose every time a new technology like this emerges. And maybe we're not asking ourselves that enough right now, and we should be. But at the same time, I don't think we need to, humans are going to adapt. It's the same thing like the new dating app that's going to be checking if anything's created by an AI. I know like Y Combinator has a lot of deep fake checkers right now. That's like a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we're not careful, like there will be this period, I think, where people are going to take advantage of this kind of stuff, and people are not going to know like this was created by an AI. Kind of like the early parts of what I was saying earlier, which is like the people that are using ChatGPT right now for dating, like they're gonna take advantage of this situation, and then people are gonna notice and care, and we're gonna go back to authenticity. So long run though, what does it mean? Like, there's a whole nother question is like, what's gonna happen in the long run with potential singularity? If you know that
No.
so like technology kind of goes like this, right? The theory is that at some point there's going to be this line right here where technology progresses so quickly that the technology actually invents itself better than a human can. Yeah. And that point is pretty dangerous. Like if
Skynet.
yeah, basically Skynet, right? Like if we, the adage is like, if we make an AI make paper clips, and eventually it'll just like start like taking over the universe in order to make more paper clips if we're not careful.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just gonna like start like there's a game called Universal Paperclips where you just like you play the AI making paper clips, and eventually it makes the stock market like it like plays the stock market because it just wants more money for its paperclip factory, and then eventually it invents a machine to like hypnotize the entire human population in order to make them make more paper clips. And then you start like sending probes into space to make more paper clips. Like that shit could actually happen. Like not specifically like that, but yeah, that's a whole nother question. Like AI safety is a huge deal. We should probably care about more.
I'm never going to look at paper clips the same ever again.
Universal Paperclips,
Yeah,
Pigeon
it's like
Simulator.
it's a
Y'all play
really-
some weird games, man.
I like interesting games, dude. Like
Yeah.
I think at this point I've already played all the like I'm like Harry Potter is cool, but like I'm not gonna play that game because I already know what that experience is gonna be like. So I'm looking for the really weird, interesting,
Okay, that makes sense.
one-off games. Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you said that humans are going to adapt, right? Like
Short run we're fine. Long run, not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just going to speak about myself, right? Like I am not on any dating apps.
Yet.
That's because I believe in the stigma that it kind of is like a unromantic approach to meeting your significant other, which is closed-minded of me. Of course, I understand that. I haven't been able to get past it yet, right? And for me, when you say like, oh yeah, this AI is gonna give you like a prompt on what to say, like that is also another thing, right? But when you say humans are gonna adapt by creating like AI checkers, that feels like another hurdle in order for you to seek like authenticity. Like it makes me even more reluctant to like pursue that, because I'm like, now I gotta check if this person is AI. Like really, like
am I getting scammed?
yeah.
Yeah. There's like Tinder bots already, right? It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Except,
I don't know anything about these things because I'm not on the app. So
He's not.
I mean, yeah, there's people like you can imagine they're like OnlyFans people that are just making Tinder profiles, and then you match with them, and then they are now a bot trying to sell their own OnlyFans.
Oh,
Like that's
wow.
super. Like they're not, from what I've seen at least, they're not that sophisticated yet.
Yeah.
So they're just like, as soon as you match with them, hey, you want to check out my OnlyFans? I got like,
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
can
yeah.
and then
usually
that's
tell.
it. You're done.
Okay.
Like there's no, that's the bot. Like there's no AI really.
Sometimes you have like random Asian women just like add you,
Oh yeah.
and they'll like try to talk to you here and there, like bots and stuff.
I
And
always
then
wondered why they're Asian.
yeah,
Like,
I don't know either, and I don't know how they get you. Like,
Because it's a fetish thing. That's the
No.
reason why it's Asian.
oh, okay, I guess.
maybe,
But yeah, they'll like talk to you, and be like, oh, and like they're trying to get like your number, your information, and stuff. And it's like you can usually tell though.
Wait, you mean that chick was not real?
Oh, sorry, we got away off topic. It was my bad.
No. That was great. Like I wanted to hear about that because, yeah, hearing about all this, it makes me again, more reluctant to kind of pursue someone through technology, right? And maybe in that way, you kind of go back to seeking authenticity, where it's like, I'll just go on the streets and like meet someone. I'll go to a fucking club. I'll go to like a class or something. But it's not so much that like. It's more because I'm like being turned off by the idea than I am like wanting to really just pursue the human experience, right? Because it's more like, oh yeah, I really don't want to go on an app, so therefore I'll go out and meet people. But I just think that because as humans, right, what we like is convenience, right? That's the reason why a lot of things exist, right? The reason why AI exists, the reason why dating apps exist, the reason why cars exist. And I think in the future it's gonna be very inconvenient to date. because everyone's gonna seek the easy way out, right? It's like go on the app, match. You already know that they like you because they match with you. So therefore, let's try to have this experience together in real life. But at that point, there's gonna be like a disconnect. I feel like, right? Until that app where it tells you what to do, like that coach exists. But even then, like I'm sure people will catch on. They're gonna know, and they're gonna be like, "This is not authentic either."
Yeah.
Like, do you think at a certain point that that's kind of going to be the slowdown of development of like AI, where people are like, oh, like this is kind of going too far. Like let's slow down this a little bit.
Well, in a sense, I think we're all like at this point in society right now. Like, take away the AI, we're all kind of craving authenticity. It just seems like the the meta right now, maybe. Like, I think that's why Lex is like popular. He's just so himself and nothing else. There's no corporate backing. I think it's more of a corporate thing actually than an AI thing. Like for the authenticity thing, nobody wants to be feeling like they're sold something. And usually when that happens, it feels like soulless, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how that relates to dating, though. Let me think about this. Do I think online dating is more soulless than real life dating?
I don't.
I mean, I met her from Grindr,
Yeah.
so. I don't think the convenience really takes away from the experience, maybe.
Really?
I wouldn't have the opportunity to meet or swipe, I guess, 100 people in one night in real life. So maybe my chances of meeting someone that I'm more inclined to be a good match with is better if there's a dating app, right? So maybe it's even better for that. You do have to get past, you do have to play the game a little bit though, but then you do have to do that in real life too.
Yeah.
It's just a
gamifying everything.
yeah, it's just like a different game, I guess. Like,
There's people back in the day who said that talking on the phone was getting out of the traditional way of dating someone.
I see that.
Or writing letters.
Writing letters,
Yeah.
because it's always going to be some kind of stigma for the newest way where, and I feel like you are in this space right now where you're not dating at all. And every time we talk about it, it's like, oh, no, so maybe the lens you're seeing it is a little different because, and you've always kind of seen it that way too. You have these certain blocks where it's like, you don't see women as sexual creatures. You find like dating as like, if it's online dating, it's kind of like weird and like maybe not as romantic, but that's not necessarily true. There's plenty of people who, I think you said something where it's like seeking authenticity.
Yeah.
I think that happens with all people, whether you meet them in person or whether you meet them online. We as human beings, like you said, don't want to be sold something. When you meet people, it doesn't matter if you met them online. It's a different environment. And yes, different environments will create different kinds of motivations. Like Tinder, most people on there want to fuck. If you go on Hinge, if you go on something else, people want to date. And if you meet someone who's also trying to be authentic with you, then that's a good thing. It doesn't take away, just because you met them online, doesn't take away from you wanting to experience that authenticity. It is definitely subjective to the individual. It's hard to say like this is all for like anyone who dates and stuff. It's like, it's not romantic or it's weird.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Is writing a letter more romantic or less romantic than sending a text?
I think culturally it's perceived that letters are more romantic. And I think that's just due to like the novelty of it and the effort.
Yep.
You know what? So let me say this. I think that for whatever, maybe this is just how my idea of romance is in my head. Like romance is inconvenience, right? Romance is like, like romance is like writing a letter instead of sending a text. Romance is like walking 500 miles to see the love of your life. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's going to be real.
like does that not make sense though? Like it's like the hard things that you do that makes it like romantic. You know what I mean? Like it's not supposed to be simple or easy. It's like getting a gift that you spent a bunch of time into thinking of to make sure that's like for this like specific person, right?
Minor
Versus
disagree.
like typing it out on ChatGPT and having a list.
I think it can be inconvenient, but I think it's about effort, and effort doesn't always have to be inconvenient.
Yeah, that's
it can be. Don't get me wrong.
Wait, can you explain that to me? So, when is something that's lower effort more convenient?
I could
or, sorry,
write
less
like
convenient.
in the time you wrote a letter, maybe I could have wrote an entire book, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a better example is I could write like a letter with pictures that are all AI generated in the time you took to write like a paragraph letter.
But that's like efficiency, though, right? That's
Yeah,
so
maybe
is-
it both take us the same amount of effort, but the amount of romance would maybe be the same.
You said romance is inconvenient, but if you recall the
think
days when you were like in love and you wanted to be romantic, it might have been inconvenient, but you wanted to do it. And I remember like sometimes maybe it wasn't like the best optimal time, but I wanted to do it. You know, I wanted to put in that effort because I care about that person. So at the end of it, it wasn't really like inconvenient for me. I didn't feel like it was like ruining my life or like taking away from my life.
That's
it
not
was.
what I'm saying, though.
yeah.
Like
I'm saying romance is effort, not
Yeah, romance is
inconvenience.
effort, not inconvenient though.
Yeah.
I think
I understand when you
Yeah.
romanticize it is just effort, right?
Yeah.
Like if we're speaking of it like objectively, though, it is like if, for instance, like if I'm driving far to see someone, right? Like objectively, if I'm like I have to visit my girlfriend fucking from like NorCal or some shit, I gotta drive every weekend. Yeah, I'm like I don't mind the drive, but looking at it objectively is inconvenient. You get what I'm saying? Like,
do get what you're
like
saying.
yeah, you romanticize like, oh, actually, it's not inconvenient because I enjoy the drive. I love her so much, so I'll put fucking hundreds of miles on my car like every fucking weekend or something like that. And again, you know, maybe I'm speaking about it in a very unromantic way, which is why it sounds a little different. But speaking objectively, like looking at it logically, I feel like it makes sense.
what is the difference between you putting effort into a relationship and you putting effort into your job? You know, is working inconvenient? Is working on yourself inconvenience? So do you?
Is it inconvenient? Yeah, looking at like straight up, yeah. Like if I just got everything and it just happened, that would be more convenient, right? If I just went to the gym once and I'm fucking buff, that would be way more convenient than spending hours to look like how I do now. Like, dude, do you know how much effort I put into to look mid as fuck? Like this is fucked up. This is fucked up. People think I don't even go to the gym. That's fucked up.
You eat too many tacos.
I know inconvenience. You know what I mean? I've fucking done that. I've been that fucking person. Like one of my exes, I drove her back and forth between school and work every single day.
It's a lot.
Yeah. That was my idea. I was like, let me show you how much I love you by doing this. You know what I mean? And yeah, to me, it didn't feel inconvenient. But now I look at it in hindsight, right? Remove the idea of love from it. I was like, that was fucking hella inconvenient.
I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking, I'm still stuck on, like, I can't tell the difference between inconvenience and effort. I think the effort is what makes it.
Less effort, I feel like, means more convenience, right?
Would you say inconvenience equals effort then?
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay.
The more effort you have to put into something, the more inconvenient it is.
It feels more authentic to me to write a long, like a book from ChatGPT than it is for me to write a letter and send it.
Oh.
I think you would. I don't know which one you'd like better, but like I don't know which one would you like better. Like a whole book written by ChatGPT about our relationship or something on Valentine's Day, or like a letter. Like I don't know.
I want to hear.
I think one of them. They think they're both the same amount of effort.
Yeah, and right now it's just three fucking dudes talking about romance. So let's hear it from the expert right here.
I think personally, I would like a letter, but I also see like it might be more authentic for you to go the GPT route because that's what you know and you're comfortable with. But like in the sense of like my personal preference, it would probably be a letter because I know that it was. I wouldn't say inconvenient.
Like, what if they took the same amount of effort though?
I would say it depends on the subjective amount of. It's not time that we're talking about. It's intention, and it's how much of
Right.
your subjective intention and personal time are you putting into this. Like when you're writing a letter, it's you being present and you writing this out, and it's like that is the intention the entire time. And the entire time, it's you. If you're putting it into GPT, it might take the same amount of time, but it is not you writing it. You're putting in the details, you're filling it out, but it's something else, a different. It's a program creating it for you, but you being the one doing the act that whole time makes the difference.
Of course, I mean everyone's idea of romance is a little different.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I'm just explaining mine. I'm trying to understand how you guys think and
Yeah.
vice versa, right?
Would
No
you
one's
rather
right
have
or
a
wrong.
letter or a WAF generator?
Letter.
Really? I made a whole website for like one time.
Hey, babe, all I wanted was a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so her love language is words of affirmation. I suck at that. So I just like found out about GPT around this time. It was like October or something last year. I was like, dude, I could use this to write words of affirmations. And then so I made a website where anyone can just put some details about their partner, and it would just write like a paragraph of like words of affirmation.
Yeah. That's
And
actually
it's
really
live.
cool.
You can try it right now. But like, yeah, like that was a lot of effort, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a lot of effort for sure. And
Yeah.
you know, it's funny. So I was supposed to start this company with one of my friends, right? And speaking about like authentic experiences, it is a company that has like a robot that writes out letters, but looks like a human wrote it.
Like 3D print. How does that work?
It's literally like a hand thing with like a pen, and it just moves. And you type out whatever it is, and it's on like a piece of
That's
paper,
fine.
and it writes out like probably too perfect, but you know,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. And it didn't work out, but yeah.
I think another one of the, in exploring this like GPT world, a couple of things. One could be a like not birthday card, but just like greeting card writer. Just any writer, like any card that you want, you write a description of what you want this to be about, graduation, and then here's like 3 bullet points about the person. It'll write the thing, and it'll have an image that's specifically for that person. It'll be like a robot graduating or something.
Whoa.
If it's a
That's
CS
really
major
cool.
or something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's an art major, it'll be a complete. It'll just use the Dolly 3. I don't know if you guys play with the AI generated images stuff.
I've seen it.
Yeah, same
That's
idea.
cool.
It'll just use that, and then the other side, it'll be the card, and then just print it on nice paper, sell it for like $3.
So I wanted to switch gears a little bit. So
Yeah.
we've talked about AI for a little bit. You mentioned something earlier about when you were younger, comparing yourself to your cousins, the kind that you were bad at school. And from like our whole conversation here today, I'm like, damn, this guy's smart.
Yeah.
Like, he knows his
Awesome.
shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm good at lying. Yeah, it's a front.
He's like reading off the ChatGPT.
I wanted to know, like, was there a certain point that you became inspired or something changed in your life to get you to, like, you worked for Facebook, you've worked in crypto, you've done all these other things where you are someone who's achieved some successes in your life.
Yeah.
And maybe the old you looks back and you're like, damn, like I did that,
Yeah.
Was there like a certain point in your life or something that like changed for you to get here?
I don't really think anything changed. Maybe just the mindset, because like I think I literally had like a learning disability. Now looking back, like no, seriously, I think I have like I'm like slightly dyslexic.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's hard for me to pay attention, so maybe I have like really minor ADD or something. Yeah, school that just like the traditional education system just wasn't working for me. I mean, I wasn't doing poorly. I was getting like B's and stuff, but like I wasn't going to UCLA. Like family members were, and that was just like drilled into you as when you're a kid. You don't really have choices in your goals, really. Maybe people do, but I didn't, or it didn't feel like I did. And so it was just like get into the best college, get the best job, and at that stuff I was kind of failing. So what happened was 2 things. Probably one was getting really good at con.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I am like in the top whatever percentage, and like you can't be dumb to be here, right?
Yeah.
Like clearly I don't know. Like it was a really weird time in my life, because I was like, I'm doing well at this. How come I can't do well at other stuff? Maybe I'm just like stupid. I was trying at school still, but it's like, yeah. And then another thing was the thing that really changed everything was going to the coding boot camp. I don't know how to explain it other than like they really cared about education to the degree I've never seen before. Like I'm super passionate about education, like ed tech now, because like I went through that process. Like it was very, very, very minimal lectures, like super hands-on learning. Everything is group work. Everything is like, I think I learned more. So coding bootcamp is like 80 hours a week for 3 months, maybe. I think I learned more in 3 months than 4 years of college, like straight up. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like insane. Like, I'm like, dude, why did we even go to school? Like, yeah. And then why did I even put effort into all these things I don't care about? And like, there's so much more efficient ways now. And so yeah, it was just like a change in the way I learned. Like, just got super lucky that this even exists. So I can have this opportunity, and it worked for me. That's one thing. And like the confidence came from like the boot camp at the time was probably like 1/3 Ivy League people. And like, again, I was just like doing well, I guess. I was like, dang, maybe I should have, maybe I was fine this whole time. I kind of like got to finally clear that dissonance in my head. Like,
Nice.
am I dumb or am I smart? Like, and then like I finally figured out, I just kind of needed to learn a different way, and just kept doing that way at Facebook and beyond. So
Nice.
I don't think I've achieved that much, but I think like it really helped me break out of that old mental mold I had. Yeah.
What's the one lesson you've learned from all of that?
School sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it depends who I want to talk to. Like, what lesson I would say. I think the biggest thing is like learning is like, I don't know. I can't say the same for everybody because some people went to great schools and they learned a lot in every class. I can't say that was the same for me, so I wouldn't even say, like, one practical thing would just be traditional education is just not for everyone.
That's great because there's gonna be a lot of people who see themselves as failures because they didn't do well in school because the
for sure I
system
did,
kind of doesn't
yeah.
work for them. And hopefully whoever hears that, they can relate. It shows that you can achieve like a high level of success without succeeding in traditional schooling systems.
Like, on a side note, like there's some people in my class that were like homeless too, and like people that were
What?
like from prison too. Like
Wow.
there was a program, like the founders were really into like social change and stuff.
Oh, wow,
So
that's
they had a
awesome.
partnership with the Last Mile program, which is like in your last few years of your sentence, they'll teach you engineering
Oh,
in the
sick.
camp, and then you'll come out and you'll do Hack Reactor for free, and then you'll do like those guys like really killed it too. Like
Wow.
they did really well.
Literally and figuratively.
Sir,
Just kidding.
stop.
I don't think they did anything. So something I learned from that too. I don't know. This is like a tangent, but everybody's like, they're really good people. Like, I think they're just got stuck in bad situations. Like, I think I guess something I took away from that is like, you kind of grow up doing like the easiest thing in your environment, I guess, which is what you're told usually. For me, that was like going to college, the best one I can, and stuff like that. But for other people, they think that gangbanging is like the way they succeed in life, and then they do that, and then they don't get to this point where they can think for themselves until later. And so I think I'm still passionate about education technology because of this. Like, it kind of evens out the playing field for everyone.
Oh,
Like,
that's awesome.
yeah, like people in less privileged opportunities are not actually dumber or anything. They just like need more opportunities.
So I kind of want to go away from the whole tech things because it seems like that's the thing that we've been like focused on a lot. I kind of want to talk about your past as far as like you seem like a very confident human being now. I don't know how you were prior because you talked a lot about gaming, talked a lot about like just not feeling like you fit in, doing well in school. At what point did you feel like you came into your own skin?
Probably the coding bootcamp. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Either that or gaming. But like, I just got to like top 10 in the world, and then people are like making videos
Oh, really?
about like things that I did. And I was like, what? How is this even happening?
Dude, you could have made so much money if it was like,
If it was Dota 2, yeah.
yeah.
But to be fair, it's way easier in Han at the time I was playing it because it was a dying game. So there's way less competition. So that was the first thing. I was like, maybe I can do stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the second thing was definitely the coding bootcamp. Just having peers that are quote unquote successful. There's like some really, like at the time in 2017 and 18, coding bootcamps were relatively new. They started about in 13, like in a mainstream way, but they're like, how the growth is like exponential too. So it's still like it's still relatively new at the time. People that were there were really risk takers, I would say. So you get a lot of like really crazy, there's someone in the special forces there. I was like, what the heck?
Oh.
Yeah, there's just like, the prisoners is a different story, but like there's a ton of Ivy League students and like that were just like, man, I wanted to become a musician and I'm like a PhD dropout for music, and then like I need some money, like that sort of deal. And I was like, doing as well as them, and I thought they were like the smartest people I've ever met, and so that made me feel like, yeah, I guess I can do stuff. Yeah. Again, though, I don't think I've done that much crazy stuff in my life. Like, I think I'm just like an average person. But I really felt a lot more confident after that. I didn't feel like I was like a loser. I just felt like, I guess where I'm at now, which is like a normal person.
We love to hear, people's stories.
Yeah, what about you guys? Like, did you guys have like any moments in your life where you're just like,
where I felt comfortable in my skin? Fuck, I kind of still don't, but I think it was when I understood that I could change things about myself. I think that was something that was really difficult, because before I thought it was just like, like, this is how I'm born, this is how I'm going to be, especially personality. I think that was the thing that I focused on the most.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to be more malleable, and that allowed me to speak to a lot of people. So I always tell the story where when I was younger, I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. I was bullied a lot. And for me to get out of the bullying, I learned how to change my personality into being very likable. Mm-hmm. So one of the first things I did when I was like younger was like, I remember this kid was picking on me. His Andre, and he was bullying me. And I remember it. I was like, what if I do something nice for him? And being like 5 or something like that.
Oh, dang, you're 5 too. That's really self-aware for 5 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I was getting my ass beat, so I was like, I gotta do something. And I was like, okay, well, this is a weird idea. I wouldn't suggest anyone doing this, but I remember I went up to him. I scratched his back, and then and he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Yeah, it's if I scratch your back, you scratch mine." Right?
Oh, I see. Like,
yeah,
and you thought that was literal.
Yeah. At the time, as a kid, I didn't understand it. He's like, "Okay, cool,"
For
and then I wouldn't say became friends, because I still feared him. You know what I mean? Like, but I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, he's not picking on me anymore.
Scratch his back.
Yeah. So then
That's so cool.
I don't know if it is, but yeah, eventually I just learned like what people like and how to speak to people, and it's kind of gotten me really far in life, because I'm relatable in one way or another, because I know people's like tendencies, and it was only when I really became confident in it was when I did it because I was genuine, not out of trying to fit in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because before I did it just to kind of like be under the radar, but now I'm doing it because I want to, And
when did you make that switch?
That was, I think, I want to say around high school or college. I think because in high school, I was transitioning out of like caring about what people think, and when I stopped caring about what people think, I stopped trying to fit in, and then I just I was seeking what was more authentic to me, like what I really cared about. Yeah,
in high school too, huh? Dude, you go fast. Like I did that last year. Like,
yeah, I think it was just kind of like because I was like, okay, I got this down. You know what I mean? I'm not really getting bullied as much. I still was, because sometimes bullies just start out of nowhere. You don't even have a chance to kind of like adapt, right? Yeah. But then eventually, like I guess when it was, because I haven't been bullied since high school, maybe like by friends or something like that, just bullshitting around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so through college, I was like, okay, let me just kind of fit in with the people that I want to fit in. And then I guess when I became more confident was when I started building businesses with people that I thought were way higher up than me, and they talked to me like an equal.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, whoa, what the hell? Like, this guy drives like Lamborghinis and Ferraris. Like, what am I doing sitting here and discussing like a business plan?
Yes, man. Yeah, that's kind of like the version of me doing the.
Yeah. And I chalked it up to like, oh shit, like I do have the right to sit here and like talk to these people. We just have different backgrounds, and different paces of life. Like maybe he's just, well, for sure he's financially. These people are more financially well off than me. But it's like, okay, well, I'm just going at my own pace, and I'm going to learn and figure it out, and I still have a chance to be at this table.
Yeah, for me, there's been multiple moments where I've felt like growth and like becoming more comfortable in my skin and kind of like just seeing who I am. And there's, multiple different types. Like I could say some of the first instances was like some of the first women that I've dated where it was like they were very go-getters, and I could tell that I wasn't like maybe good enough. And I saw myself in kind of the same way where you thought like, oh, I am the way I am, or like this is how my personality is. And I realized that I couldn't stay the same way if I wanted to date someone that like I really liked or was attracted to, because I'm like, I was not trying in my life. You know, I thought I was like, oh, you should like me for who I am, like how I am. And like, even though I'm not trying to grow. And I remember that as I was young and having to come to terms with that, I'm like, man, I'm not who I want to be. You know, I don't feel comfortable in my skin. And I started to take steps to like, you know, get a little bit better. Cause I'm like, I don't want to be like that. And actually a different moment that I've had was like with you when, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you don't remember this cause you have a terrible memory. But I was young. I was like 18 and I wasn't in the best spot in my life. And I was kind of like, away from my social groups, and I started hanging out with Peter's social group, and I still felt kind of like alone. I felt kind of like an outsider. I had just come into the group, and it'd been some few months or something like that, and I was hanging out with you guys here and there. And I remember you told me once, and it was you told me like, "Hey man, like where were you last time? Like we really missed you." And it was like very genuine. Peter's like, "Yeah, like you know, you're one of us, like one of the group," and like. It was like such simple words, and it was just Peter telling me like, and Peter's like the leader of the group, you know. So it was like, wow, like I felt really like accepted. I felt really like,
Nice, yeah.
you know, like I had felt this kind of like aloneness and being like away, not having like any kind of like people around me. And he told me that, and ever since then I was like, oh, you know, like these are my homies, like you know, even though like I felt like I didn't always come around and stuff, like with them it's always been like, oh, you can always come back, and it's always like nothing's changed. And
Yeah,
I remember,
cool.
I remember that made me feel really like, oh, like come into my own, like. Be more comfortable with who I am and develop my personality more.
Yeah.
And I just started feeling, oh, okay, you know, I have these like groups of friends and who I can like hang out with and just like learn to be myself around.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess one of the last ones, one of the most impactful ones was, I told you to stop playing video games, and I stopped playing around like 23, 24, was because I met this professor.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Long Beach, and you know, in the same way you said like, you know, 4 years of school didn't teach you shit compared to that coding boot camp, dude, same thing. All my life I've had a bunch of professors. The only two professors that I've ever had an impact on me were like my third grade professor, such a nice guy, and then my college professor, who like I learned more in his class than I did in any class like for combined for years. You know,
What major were you?
I was business major.
Okay, and then what class did he teach?
He taught
Or she?
business strategy and
yeah.
business and IT and some other
taught a lot of stuff. Huh?
Yeah, international
Okay.
business. So I ended up taking it. Was like we came in super hard ass. Dude who's been in the military. He worked for Raytheon. He worked for BP Oil. He worked for all the top Fortune 500 companies. And he was like 70 years old, and he would like was angry, would yell at you. There's no multiple choice in the class. He's like, this is going to be a Ivy League structured kind of class. It's all oral. You have two tests. It's a midterm and a final. The midterm is called the shootout. They point at you. He can point at you when it's the midterm. It can be anything from the first day to that day, and he asks you a question, and you have to get it right,
yeah.
and then you get an average. You get one right, one wrong, that's an F, 50%.
That's like a law school.
Yeah, and he would do that,
sort of
you know,
deal.
and
Yeah.
boom, 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 ask you question throughout, you know, just if you have to get them right. The final is you have to go up on stage, and it can be any topic from the first day to the last day. There's a card, you pick it up, you talk about it for like 3-5 minutes, and you have to like, if you don't know your shit, you're not gonna be able to talk, you know?
It's intense,
and that's
man.
it.
Yeah.
And dude, there was a girl who like straight up cried on stage, and she made her stay up there, like, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, it was
That's traumatizing
It was
stuff.
the most intense class that I've ever had. Yeah. And I remember the first day driving on the 405, going back, and I was like, I'm not prepared for this. You know, I have to change. Like, and I remember like talking to myself, like, you can do this. Like, you have to be better. And I remember like just like slapping myself. I'm like, dude, you have to like try. You have to do. Because at that point, it was like make or break for me. Because I'm like, who am I? Like, am I gonna actually like put in the effort to like that I know is inside? I know I have potential. Like, am I actually gonna try and like get an A in this class and pass this class? And I realized I was like, I have to give up video games. That's when I was like, dude, I can't take this class and have these like hobbies that take away from like my actual learning. And I ended up getting an A and taking them 2 more classes and acing every single one of my classes.
Nice.
And that's when like,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
when you talked about like, you realize, oh, hey, I'm not that dumb. I had that same thought where I'm like, before that, I was a straight C student, sometimes D's, like maybe get a B in history. But from that point on where I was like, hey, I'm actually smart. You know, I'm like, hey, like I see it. Yeah.
Nice. Good shit.
Nice, man. That was great.
Hey guys, welcome back to Lightning Round, where we ask our guests some rapid fire questions. Brendan, Are you ready?
I guess so.
All right. 3,
Let's do it.
2, 1. Last time you were happy.
Today? I don't know.
Okay. Last time you cried.
I don't remember. I yawned too loud, maybe. Like
First
I
time
really don't
you tried alcohol.
Are my parents gonna see this? Senior year of high school, I think.
When was your first kiss?
Sophomore year of high school. 16, 15.
What are your turnoffs?
Nothing. Turnoffs in what?
Think about what are your red flags? How about that?
Just like in terms of a partner, probably just like someone that I can't have a good conversation with. Like they're not like intellectually stimulating.
Who inspires you?
Off the top of my head, Lex Friedman, like we were talking about. Saul Khan is a big hero of mine. He's the guy that made Khan Academy. Strangely, like Porter Robinson. You know?
Really?
Yeah, he had like I don't know. I like music a lot, so it's not so much. It's like his direction in terms of like how his career went. Like how long are these answers? Like
There could be as long
You
as
can be as long as you want.
okay, so at some point he was like a very mainstream artist making very mainstream music, and then at some point he's like, this doesn't make me happy. He could have been the next. Probably he could have been like on the direction of Martin Garrix kind of deal.
Yeah.
Or Tiesto, like you can say, but he chose to make something that was a lot more authentic to himself, which is Worlds, and that was cool. Like, yeah, just like that. Like probably subconsciously, it had an impact on me deciding to go YOLO and do things on my own way. Yeah, there's like a lot of artists that do that though. Like I think Toki Monsta is another one, just because. Dude, it's crazy. Like I read her bio. She's from like UCI. Like it's like
really?
damn. Like normal people can do it too.
If you could master any instrument.
CDJs maybe. Does that count? Like maybe Ableton
Yeah.
is better.
Yeah.
No.
I choose Ableton. Ableton's cooler to me.
What would your DJ name be?
DJ BJ. I've only done some house parties.
Okay, what's your fetish?
Mind Goblin. No, I'm just kidding. I'll pass on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
What scares you?
I think like not finishing life and not having done too much is pretty scary. It's kind of like a motivation to do a lot of things in life. For me, now that I read a book called The Denial of Death by Beckert, I think. I forget his name, but like it's all about that. And it's like it made a lot of sense to me. Just like you don't think about it really, but probably the reason you do anything is because you're gonna die at the end. And like not that the death matters, but like you're scared that you'll be gone and these other things wouldn't have been completed in your life. So yeah, it's like I want to like after I sat down and really thought about it, I was just like, what does a great life mean to me? And you kind of just like work towards that every day. So you quit Facebook and, you know, again, not that Facebook's bad, but like to a lot of people, like living a very comfortable life in the suburbs is like an awesome life.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's really cool. But yeah, probably death.
My last question for you: if you could change one thing about Michelle, what would it be?
Come on, man. This is entrapment.
There's a good
She
answer
actually
there.
slid that question in here.
It's entrapment. Like
To say nothing.
nothing. Yes.
Go, Peter.
You've answered correctly. All right. What are your red flags?
Nothing. I'm perfect. Like
He answered that one way more quickly than
I'm unemployed, and that's kind of a risk. I think.
okay.
Yeah. Like I'm doing quote unquote high risk things. To
Yeah.
people that might be a good green flag though.
Yeah, of
So I
course.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just what you perceive it, you know?
Yeah.
What would you be doing if you weren't a engineer or developer?
Education for sure. But then like in what aspect I don't know, because like I think the technology part of it is really cool because it'll allow people from like you don't need a teacher anymore. You know, you have the internet. So I'd probably work on that, but then I would work on it on the aspect of like as an entrepreneur / developer.
Got it.
So I don't know how I would do that without without knowing that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Or a musician maybe.
Nice. What is your love language?
What are the options? Like
What are the options?
Words of
Michelle?
affirmation, quality time, gifts, acts of service, and physical touch.
probably quality time or physical touch.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
What is the best gift you've ever received?
A record player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's expensive. No, I don't know. A friend gave me one. It's D in Dora, by the way. I don't know. It was just like it's just cool. Like they knew I was into music for a while, and like it's expensive too. Like at the time we were in college, so like just graduated.
If there's one person that you could talk to that you haven't had a chance to speak with, who would that be?
Jesus would be crazy. Abraham Lincoln would be crazy
I was
too.
thinking Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. Buddha would be crazy too.
Yeah.
There would be so many. Like
You get one.
I'll go with Jesus.
Nice.
I want to see what the hell was going on there.
I'm curious too. If you could eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would that be?
Dude, you know, on my like Hinge dating profile, I used to put like marry, fuck, kill, ramen, soba, and udon. It's like a really easy gateway into a date, you know? Because they answer that question and then you just like, it's an alley-oop.
Yeah, no, that is.
What was it? Udon, I guess? No, I don't like udon.
You don't like udon?
It's his kill. That's the kill.
For the rest of my life, though,
Yeah, one thing.
because I can't eat udon for like ramen for the rest of my life. That's bad for you. Like, if I had to, probably some salad or something. Like,
Oh, wow.
should
Be healthy.
Healthy, yeah.
Whoa. That's crazy. Yes, I know.
It's a practical answer more than.
Yeah. What's one country that you want to travel to that you haven't?
I really think it would be dope to go to Ukraine, like right now.
Whoa,
Sir.
you are a risk taker. Jesus.
Yeah, that would be like. I just want to talk to people and see what's going on, like how they feel about it. It's like this is a super rare opportunity. I think.
Yeah.
Man, what am I doing? I should just do this. Like, what's stopping me?
All right, guys, that concludes our lightning round. I want to say thank you to our very smart, very enlightening guest, Brandon. Let us know where we can find you. Let us know where we can see ChatGPT.
Like, I'm not really active on social media, but you can check out the app on sgpt.app. And it's super under construction, but you know, there's a lot to check out there already. So if you do stop by, please join the Discord, and you can. I'll be super active on that, and I'd love to hear your feedback. So.
Nice. I'll be joining. Yeah. And thank you guys for tuning in. This was a very, very enlightening conversation, and I'm fearful for the future. But make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below what you guys want us to talk about next. And remember,
Live fast, eat ass.